So the goal here today is to use the Transtheoretical model to help my roommate Kaylee identify where she is in terms of change and how to get herself to modify her behavior. She expressed that she wanted to change her behavior of sleeping habits in terms of going to bed early for her early morning class and avoid taking naps in the middle of the day. So I'll use the Transtheoretical model in order to help her identify where she is. So here's just a picture of the overall Transtheoretical model. Determination is also known as preparement, so I'll go through them. So this is the Transtheoretical model of change. This is used in order to identify readiness or willingness to change behavior based on the individual. It provides an outline of strategies for behavior change based on the following steps: pre-contemplation, contemplation, determination, which is also preparation, and then it's followed by action, relapse, and maintenance. So most of the important part to understand about this is it's circular. Thus, one can move either backwards or forwards or jump from stage to stage. There's not like a consecutive start and stop part. It says enter because usually that's how it starts. And usually you do work in a circular rotation, but relapse, for instance, isn't necessarily a stage. It just, you can go into relapse. So there's not the consecutive stage that one has to identify with. I will explain each stage in the following slides based off of Kaylee's behavior change. Just to preface, Kaylee is in the contemplation stage in regards to sleeping habits. So to start off, we're going to go with pre-contemplation. So pre-contemplation is the stage of no awareness / intention of behavior. And there are several constructs within this stage, which is conscious raising, which is increasing awareness of health behavior. So for example, this could be Kaylee seeing her roommates were going to bed earlier, or seeing signs around the school of importance to sleep. But obviously from the picture, she is still in bed napping, or her room is completely messy, which relates later. The next construct is dramatic relief. This is an emotional arousal of the health behavior. So, for example, when I was talking to Kaylee said that she'll oftentimes fall asleep in class because she's so tired, and she feels tired most of the day, so kind of affects her overall. The next construct is environmental reevaluation, learning how one's action affects oneself or another. So this example is when Kaylee goes to bed late, she has to plan her day differently. So she'll take a nap, for instance, by the picture. And it's not always helping her school because instead of studying or doing homework or working with groups during the day, she's actually napping because she's so tired. So this also does happen frequently, where she sleeps through her 7:45 class because she went to bed way too late the night before. And in general, it can affect us as roommates because sometimes she'll be up in the middle of the night, in the kitchen eating something or just kind of walking around. So the next stage is contemplation, and this is the stage that Kaylee identified with when we were talking about her habit change. So this stage is where the participant is aware that the behavior needs to change but has not really committed to the change yet. This is kind of the ambivalent stage for the most of the time. So in terms of her behavior change, she knows that she needs to sleep more regular hours, and she is kind of moving towards some things but doesn't have complete action. So this is the instance of she kind of cleaned her room, but there's still some things she could pick up. And then also she drinks coffee a lot, so she was like, oh, maybe I should drink some less caffeinated tea to help me out. And the social construct within this stage is actually self-evaluation, which means she has a self-image of where she wants to be and what that change behavior will do to influence her life. Followed by that, we have the stage 3, which is preparation. And when Kaylee gets over the ambivalence and decides that she wants to take action, she'll reach the stage of preparation, otherwise known as determination in the other slide. In this stage, Kaylee would prepare for the behavior change and commits to following through. In other words, she needs to identify why she can't go to bed so early at a reasonable time, and she starts the change by some of the habits she has. So some of the following constructs would be self-liberation, and this is the belief that someone can change. So it's kind of like self-efficacy. And the next one is social liberation, surrounding yourself around groups of people that do things in a healthier way. So for an example, the two beds are actually my roommate Sky and my roommate Amber. So they make their bed every single morning. So they get up in the morning, wake up to the alarm, make their bed so they do not nap in the middle of the day. The self-liberation, the picture was the picture of the water bottle and the alarm clock, because Kaylee sometimes will drink soda at night, and it's not really good to drink caffeine right before you go to bed. So there's a water bottle to substitute it, kind of, or just promote waking up in the morning, starting on a good habit. The next stage is action. This stage is where the intended behavior has been implemented in an effort to change the behavior. So this is the root of the behavior modification, because this is where the new habits are being finally changed. So the first construct is contingency management. This is reinforcing positive steps towards the behavior. So for example, Kaylee can enjoy a nice cup of coffee in the morning if she's able to sleep enough in the morning and wake up. Counter conditioning is another construct, and this is learning to substitute health behaviors for problem behaviors. So this is an example of the two pictures above, where she sometimes stays up late watching YouTube videos, her favorite YouTube video, which is whatever that is, and then she watches then changes to the podcast because she has to fall asleep to something. So rather than staying up with screen time, she actually can just listen to something in her headphones and fall asleep rather than having the blue light kind of keep her up. And also she did start cleaning her room before she went to bed, or even before she was settling down. So this kind of eases her anxiety, and she isn't kept up cleaning her room before the next day. Following that is maintenance. So maintenance is a stage that allows the healthy behavior to start becoming the new habit. With that being said, it is maintaining the change of the bad behavior. So there's several constructs within this one, and the first one is continue positive reinforcement, which is rewards and recognition for good behavior. So this could be an example of she is actually able to enjoy a cup of coffee in the morning, eat a breakfast because she is getting enough sleep so she can wake up, not feel rushed in the morning. Stimulus control is removing triggers for unhealthy behaviors. So instead of the blue light, she actually chose one of her favorite books, and that's in the right corner, and she took a picture of this because instead of staying up, she'll kind of tire herself out by reading. And the last one is maintain self-efficacy. In this construct, to maintain confidence in order to resist temptations through regular discussions. So part of this was just kind of making her bed and making sure everything was all good. And her roommates actually go to bed pretty earlier, and everyone separates and goes in their own bedroom so people aren't keeping each other up and we can go to bed. So relapse is another stage, but this can happen in between any times, or after you're maintaining it for a while, it could just happen. So relapse is actually when the participant fails or returns back to the undesired behavior. So the two pictures that Kaylee chose was she has a TV in front of her bed, so sometimes she'll get caught up watching Netflix or YouTube videos on her TV, and she'll keep her light on all night, and then it keeps her up. Or sometimes instead of drinking the water that we saw earlier, she'll drink sweet tea, which actually has a little bit of caffeine, and that will keep her up as well. So, in conclusion, the Transtheoretical model is a circular model because a person can bounce around from stage to stage, going backwards or forwards, or in all honesty, any direction on the stage. It is important to know which stage you are in order to make sure you know how to address your behavior change. This circles back to Kaylee and her behavior change of going to bed early. She needs to try to move from contemplation to preparation. This means that she needs to make sure she makes that 7 o'clock alarm by preparing herself for bed early, by turning off her TV and maybe just listening to a podcast or reading. So my recommendation to her would be to clean her room beforehand, even before she's settling down for bed. Prep things early and use her social influences, her roommates, to make her bed so she is not tempted to take naps during the day, and get her day started right away. That concludes the theory on the Transtheoretical model demonstrated on bettering sleeping habits.